My name is Dave Holston. I'm the Director of Strategic Design Management in the Office of Public Affairs, and we worked on the No project with everyone else from Public Affairs. We're going to talk about SEO today. I'll talk about keywords and the importance of keywords in SEO, and Carrie Ungema, who is our researcher, is going to talk about sort of the application of keywords and how it gets implemented in the code and just throughout the pages. So why don't we get started? The question is, why do we care about SEO? Why do we care about search engine optimization? And the reason is obvious. It's because when people go to the web and they look for information, they're going to search engines. They're going to Google, Yahoo, MSN, and approximately 70 to 80% of those folks are going right to the search engine and just typing in something to find information. The other thing that why we care about SEO is the web is getting very competitive. There are more web pages being developed every day. Every day someone's putting new information up, and finding things is going to get harder and harder. So one of the things we have to think about as public affairs people, as communicators, is how do we make sure that our content, which is really what we're promoting, stays at the top, that people that are looking for our content can find it easily based on what the search engines are looking for. So, if we look at SEO, the things that it does for us, again, it gets folks to the content quicker. Obviously, if you can find what you're looking for quicker, that's a good thing. It also has a branding halo effect. And what I mean by that is when people are doing searches for content and they find that, we're going to use the example of the Center for Learning and Memory here. If they're looking for learning and memory, and our Center for Learning and Memory comes up, in the top page, that's good. That's a good endorsement of the university brand. So again, we want to make sure that we're always showing up high in those kind of searches. And again, sort of the end game in this is once we get people to the site, we want to get them to do something. Engagement is the word of the day anymore. So we want to get them to act, read, comment, download, donate, apply, any kind of action we can think of. So basically, there are sort of three phases of SEO. We're going to look at keyword research, which is essentially defining the words that people use to find the content on your site. Site optimization, taking those words and putting it into your meta tags, titles, descriptions, into the code of your page, and then also integrating those keywords into the web content. So let's start off with keywords. So again, keywords are the things that you type in to Google when you're looking for something. So what we need to figure out is, what are people searching for? When they're looking for our content, what are the words that they're using to find our content? And again, the search engines, it's just an algorithm that's taking those search terms and finding the pages that best match up based on these two criteria. So it's keyword density, the keywords. If someone types in learning and memory into Google, if someone types in learning and memory into Google, whichever pages have the highest number of that phrase on the page will come up high. Keyword prominence, again, if the sites are optimized well with those keywords in the title tags, the titles, the descriptions, again, that page will come up higher than others that don't. There are other factors that influence this, but we're going to mainly talk about keywords and the tags and things like that. But there's also third-party endorsements. If people are linking from outside to our sites, that does a lot to move us up in the rankings. So again, we're going to use this as our example. We had gotten a call a while back from these folks asking for web redesign. And we weren't able to help them right away, but we did take a look at their site, and we kind of thought, Gary kind of looked at it and said, wait a minute, we can do a lot for them right now just based on SEO. So we're going to use these guys as our example throughout today. So the first thing that we're going to want to think of is coming up with keywords. And basically, it's a brainstorming activity. You're going to come up, look at your content on your page, look at the content not only on your home page, but let's see if I can get this to work. Come on. Yep. Go back. There we go. You want to look at the home page, but you also want to look at these various areas as well. You're going to want to come up with 2 keyword phrases for this page, 2 keyword phrases for this page, for this page, for this page. They're all going to be very specific to the content that's on those pages. So, and each of those pages will get 2 keywords, 2 keyword phrases that would be specific to those areas. So basically, again, it's just a brainstorming activity. Come up with 5 to 10 keywords. You know, we came up with learning and memory, memory and learning, different iterations, different versions, different orders of things, you know, looking for other words that might be appropriate, and start to come up with combinations of these words. And then again, you're going to pick 2 of these phrases for each page based on the volume and the competitiveness. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Is there a limit of how many keywords you can put per page?
There is. If you have your keywords, right, and you start to jam them all into your page, it'll bounce you out. The search engines will go, oh, they're gaming the system. They're trying to, you know. So, and that's a good point. Keywords and SEO is as much an art as it is a science. You know, you're creating content for both people and for this algorithm. So it's got to make sense. You know, when somebody comes to the page, they find your page, they come to the page. It shouldn't just say learning and memory, learning and memory, learning and memory.
Yeah.
You know, it should be a well-written piece with these keywords integrated into it. I don't know what I did there. There we go. So let's see here. So, so another thing, once you come up with your list, you can think of things as well as those keywords as spelling mistakes. People misspell things when they're typing it into the search engines. Plurals, you know, do they look for, you know, plurals? Are there things like ampersands, things like that they would include when they're writing those keywords? So you want to include those in your keyword list as well. There we go. Yep. So again, the thing that the search engines are looking for, or the things that you're looking for, are search volume and search competitiveness. So the crawlers will look to see who has the highest number of a particular keyword phrase in their site. That's how you get up high. So when you're selecting one, you want to pick one that has a good search volume, and there are tools out there that you can use to find out what's high and what's not. The other aspect of it, which is a little more complicated, is competitiveness. So you want to pick a keyword phrase or keyword phrases that you think your audience will use to find your content, but you also want to use a keyword phrase that isn't so popular that you would never be able to own it. It's almost sort of like a mini branding exercise here. You're using keywords to define what you do, and then you want to find another keyword phrase that sort of gives you more specific information about what you do. So we could say learning and memory, which would be great. There's probably other places that do learning and memory, and we could modify our learning and memory with maybe neuroscience. We went and did a little search in neuroscience, came up with a lot of hits. A lot of people were searching for neuroscience. So if we combine those two things, we get a really robust keyword phrase. So I mentioned there are a few tools that we can use. There's Google Keyword Researcher, SEO Blogger, Keyword Discovery. These are all free. This one in particular has a bias to it, though. Anything that's sort of Google, you know, AdWords, Google this, Google that, that's only looking at Google search. It's not looking at Yahoo or any other search. So take that into consideration when you're using these tools. Sort of the be-all, end-all is Wordtracker, and that's a paid tool. It's about $500 a year to get a license, and it lets you not only do volume, you can see how the keywords are being used, but also gives you competitive information, so you can see who else is using those keywords and whether it's, you know, whether those keywords would be effective for you. I cannot get this thing to go. So, and another place you can look at is your analytics. If you have analytics on your site, there's under traffic sources, you can look under keywords, and you can just see what are people searching for us currently. What are they looking at? How are they getting to our site now? So that's another point of reference for your research. So once you have your keywords established, then you need to sort of put them into action. And there are really 4 general areas you're looking at. There's relevance, placement, proximity, and density. So relevance just means that when you pick your keywords, you need to make sure that those keywords are relevant to the pages that they're applied to. So that's kind of a given. You know, if you want to make sure that you're giving people, if someone's searching for learning and memory or neurobiology and learning and memory, that they're going to get to a page that speaks specifically to those topics. Again, you're driving traffic, but you want to make sure that you're driving qualified traffic to your site. You don't want to just get anybody there. You want to get people who are looking for these very specific things. Placement is another big thing, and Carrie will talk a little bit more about this in detail, but you want to make sure that you have your keywords in your article title, in your content, in your description, in your web headings, in your anchor text, in your URLs. Even the positioning of your keywords are important. So there's sort of a rule of the top left down where you want to get all your keywords as much to the top of the page, top left of the page as you can, because again, that's how the search engines are going to read it. So, and that's when they see those words, then they'll start to rank you higher. So again, moving them up to the top left is good. Another issue is article titles. A lot of people will come up with very creative titles for their articles, and that doesn't really help you in search. You want to make sure that you have keywords integrated into your titles. Again, a clever title will be great if it's someone's just looking at it, but most people are going to be coming through the web to get to your stuff, so make sure that your keywords are in there or else they'll never find it. Proximity, even the closeness, the relationship of the words to each other has a big effect on SEO. So making sure that those words, your keywords, are close together. I think you need to get them within the first 300 characters of your opening paragraph. You should have your keywords in there, and they should be close together. And there are things like you can eliminate stop words like "and," so it could be just learning memory as opposed to learning and memory. And the last one is density. So again, search engines look for the ratio of the search phrase to the number of words on a page. So I give this example. You know, if you have learning and memory on your page and it's used 10 times in a 400-word article, that means learning and memory, these words are coming up 20 times. It's 5% of 400. So you have a density of 5%. That's pretty good. That's kind of average. You know, you can go higher. And to your question, once you get beyond a certain percentage point, I think the search engines get a little, you know, particular, and they think that you're trying to game what they're doing there. So you have to be careful. You want to, again, make sure the content makes sense, that it's well written, but just integrate these keywords in there. And this is, there we go. So here's another tool that you can use to measure density. So if you think about our Center for Learning Memory page, we did this density analysis, and this is a free tool. It's called ranks.nl, and you just go in there, you drop in your URL, and it'll give you all this information about your keywords and how you're using them and where they are, and it can give you a quick analysis of how you're using keywords. So this is a good example. You know, we've got Center for Learning Memory. Their top keyword is homepage. That's what they're using the most on their site, and that's, you know, nobody's searching for homepage. Nobody's searching for CLM. CLM is the acronym for their organization. That's internal speak. Nobody on the outside would ever use that. You know, these others, CLM homepage, CLM home, you know, none of these are doing them any good. They're not helping them. So they can go to this site, you can go and look, see what's coming up, and then make modifications. It'll even tell you where, you know, it'll show you your meta tags, your description tags, your title tags. It'll break the stuff down for you. It'll show you where, you know, memory is high. It shows up in the description. You know, CLM, it's coming up number 18 on Google, but again, CLM doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's coming up 18 on the Google search, but nobody's typing in CLM to find what they do. So again, it gives you a quick reference for how you can be adjusting your keywords and how you can be using your keywords. Here are two-word keyword phrases and just sort of quick analysis of what they're doing there. So this is a pretty useful tool for just doing quick analysis of your site. One other thing, the crawlers also like what people like. They like to see things in bold. They like to see italicized text. They like to see bulleted text. They like to see title case. Those are all things that raise those words. And again, if you use these on your keywords, then you're helping to bump those up and make them more prominent for the search engines. So again, here's some just real quick keyword tools that you could be using. Wordtracker, that's a paid one. Keyword discovery is pretty good. Google AdWords, you can use that even though it's primarily for pay-per-click. There's Google search-based keyword tool and RankNL, which is the keyword density tool. One other thing before I hand it over to Kerry, I just wanted to point out, keywords are very important. SEO is very important. Part of SEO is this inbound link idea. And this is a very powerful thing. We don't have enough time to talk about it today, but I just wanted to bring it to folks' attention. Here's a competing site or a peer site. This is the Pecauer Institute in MIT, and they do the same thing. They've got the Pecauer Institute for Learning and Memory, so they're doing the same thing as our guys are doing. They come up number 7 for learning and memory in Google. We type in learning and memory, these guys are going to come up. We come up 28th. So we went and we looked at their site, and they're doing as badly at keyword usage as we are. So what's the difference? Why are they coming up higher and we're not? The reason they're coming up higher is because they have more inbound links than we do. They have people from the outside, other organizations, are linking to their site, and that bumps them up in the search. So they have about over 1,000 inbound links. We have just under 70 on ours. So again, that's another big factor that moves you up in the search engine. So, and that's a relationship thing. You need to go out and contact colleagues, other areas that are doing similar research, get them to link to your site, and that'll help you move up. All right. Well, I'm going to hand it over to Kerry, and she's going to talk a bit about meta tags and title tags and code and all that other cool stuff.
But I
Oh,
know the
yes, you do.
lavalier. This is going to be the fun handoff on the mic, so this should be really interesting.
Here's that.
All right, thank you. So we'll see if I can do it. I handed everyone the handout when you came in. I should probably wait till I at least have this on, and then we'll see if I can make this. It'll be nice. You'll see. But all of these top 10 tips, Dave was going over a lot of these for SEO, and all of them, I think it's 210 different tips you could do. So these are kind of the top 10, and this comes from Google's Search Engine Optimization Starter Guide. So this is what they call kind of the top things you need to be doing for SEO. And SEO, these parts are just kind of small modifications that you can make to your website that can make a big difference. So, and Dave also brought up about search engine algorithms. There's an entire industry trying to figure out what search engine algorithms are going to do. And they're going to keep changing and moving, and how can you make it happen? But this is what Google is recommending are kind of the top things you need to be doing out of like the 210, where keywords is right there, content is truly number 1, but these are the other things you can be doing. So Google's probably sending anywhere between 60 and 80% of your search engines, traffic right now from organic search. So they're worth listening to, as these are kind of things that we should be doing. And Dave already mentioned that we're going to be using the Center for Learning and Memory. Let me see how this works. Okay, so now you've seen this several times, so we don't need to. Oh, but I do want to go back to it. This, the webmaster who put this site together is great. He has lots of different sites. He put this one together about 5 years ago. It got put together, and then he works on a whole wide range of lots of different sites. So he helped out this center when they had, I think, 2 or 3 people right when they started out, like 5-6 years ago. They put it together, and off it was, and he's been doing other things. So they got a few more people on board and said, hey, we want to do something. And we said, great, let's look at it. And a whole web redesign process takes, 6 months to a year, year and a half. We said, hey, there are a couple things that we could do now that could help you with search that you could implement right now. So why don't we go ahead and look at those things? So these next ones that I'm going to be going over, kind of the list in front of you, especially the top 5, they don't have any cost, really minimal time for you and for the webmaster to implement. And they're really easy. And the added side benefit of this is that it's really going to help with your user experience, your accessibility, and usability. If Glenda Sims gets a hold of your site for accessibility, these are some of the things that she's going to tell you to do. I'm going to go in and I'll say, well, you need to have alt tags on your images, because if you're visually impaired, when you come in, you're going to come in through a sight reader. And we have to be, as a university, 508 compliant. And this is just one of those 508 compliance things. So these, you're going to be getting more than one bird with one stone when you're doing this. All right. So I'm actually going to show the web code of what we're going to be doing so that everyone can understand and talk. You guys are going to be able to do this. This is just a great thing. And what I'm hoping everyone will do at the end of this is you're going to go back to your site. You're going to go to View across the top, and scroll down to Page Source, and click it, okay? And you're going to get this gobbledygook, right? This little page is going to pop up, and it's going to look like this. And you're like, what is this? This is basically HTML. Lots of you probably know it, but if you haven't seen it before, it's just how search engines see a website. You and I see the pretty page that comes up when we go to the website. A search engine, this is what it sees, okay? So they don't see any of the things we see. This is what a search engine sees. And I'll get it so you guys can see it as we go through it. And we've all been to Google, but I wanted to bring up a Google search page. Right now, if you do Center for Learning and Memory, which is their exact name, they come up #1. And you go, why do I need SEO? I'm ranked #1. I don't need this SEO stuff. And you go, okay, yeah, sure. Well, let's just keep talking. Maybe there's something there. All right. So the very #1 thing you can do is page titles. Page titles. But what do you mean when you're saying page titles? Like, what is that exactly? What are we talking about? So in the page title, whoops, wrong way. Oh, I'm going the wrong way now. Sorry, everyone. That is the page title. Above the search bar, right, this is their site, and there's a CLM homepage, okay? So like when you type, and then it has that little bit of writing up at the top, you've probably never even noticed it. That's the very, very first thing a search engine sees, because they come to the view source code, right? So that's what the search engine comes to. They don't see the page with their eyes. They're a robot. And so it comes in and it says, oh, this is an HTML page. Oh, this is the header. Title, close. CLM homepage, bracket, close, title. What is in between that is what shows up on that title right up above the bar, and that's what shows up here on search. So that's why it's so important, because imagine you typed in Center for Learning and Memory because you went to some conference with a professor 3 months ago, and you're like, wait, wasn't that called? And you type it in, and then you get this response, and you go, CLM homepage. Is that the right one? Is that what it should be? If this said Center for Learning and Memory at the University of Texas at Austin, you'd know you're at the right place, and you would click it, and you would be in the right place. So you want to have unique and accurate page titles. You want to have a different page title for each page of your site. And you want to use, kind of brief descriptive titles. And if you can get your keyword in the title, that's great. You want to put that in there. Now, of course, you can't write a whole paragraph because it's just going to go up on that screen and it's going to be what people are going to click on Google, when they do their search. But that's why you need to have that there. Number 2 are meta tags. All right. So what are meta tags? What are they? Let's see where they show up on the website. They don't show up on the website. So hence, these never hit a priority list, okay? Because people look at the website, right? Because you go, oh, no, wait, this doesn't look good. Why is it this color? Let's put this over here. So they don't show up, right? But Google said it's like the number 2 thing we should, what? It's because it's the number 2 thing that comes down for the search engine. So we just had the title, which is now covered, and it says meta name, description, Center for Learning and Memory, internationally recognized neuroscientist, and it goes on off the page because I just made it so you guys could read it. So this is the description meta tag. There's also the keywords meta tag. Those are important too. You want to be putting in your keywords. The description meta tag is ranked as one of the most important things you can do. And the reason why is Center for Learning and Memory, internationally recognized neuroscientists conducting research, okay? So that's what comes up in your search, most likely is what is in that description meta tag on that page. So that's where it's coming from. So you can go and look and see what's coming in. Now this isn't 100% of the time where it'll come from, because depending what keywords you put in on your search, they might grab text that's lower down on your page that has those keywords, because you know how they do, just right here, because we did Center for Learning and Memory. So those are bolded. So see, and then it has learning and memory again, and there. And I want to keep going with meta tags, but just to kind of bring up keywords and doing kind of writing for the web, their second one that comes up is their CLM faculty. And as you can see, it says Center for Learning and Memory is to elucidate, I'm not sure. I had to go look it up. I consider myself a fairly well-read person with a strong vocabulary, but I didn't know this, so I had to go look it up. It means to clarify or bring out of mystery, which I think is a great word for a paper, you know, when you are trying to, but for web writing, this is not the strongest word to put, especially on, you know, your home page, and that's getting pulled up by search engines, because that's not very user-friendly. So back to meta tags. You want to use your description meta tag. Some people, I wouldn't be surprised if someone in this room, you come back, it might be blank. There might not be anything in there. Or there might be something and you have no idea. But you want to put in what you would want that search 2-line description. What you have, 30 words to write? What do you want those 30 words to be? And so what happens is a lot of webmasters, they know all of this, and they're great. They're not necessarily writers. And everybody always has so much work to do, right? There's always so much to do. Have you ever gotten, because nobody's looking at that little piece right there, so you don't end up touching it. You don't do it, or it's something from a long time ago. So it would be great if you go pull those up, take a look, and say, hey, you know what, we could really improve this. And you want to use different ones for each page, because then you'll have the same description on every single page, which you wouldn't want that. Anchor text. So what is anchor text? We've been talking about it a little bit, but it's the actual part you click on to go somewhere. So on, like on our Google search, you know, historically it was in blue and underlined would be what you would click. Now you can do lots of fancy things so it doesn't look like that, but it's those words is called the anchor text, is the part you click on. Let's go look at their site. You can't really tell on their current site what you can click on. Like, you don't know where the links are. I'm gonna bring in this page, this side of their page into focus a little bit more so we can see it. Okay, so what they did, and you can't really tell, but the part you click on is the word link, okay, was how they made this page, instead of to CLM faculty appear on local public radio. So it was, the link was it. So a search engine comes, they're crawling your site, and they go, wow, the important word here is link. That's great. Yeah, that's not helping your site, because you want to CLM faculty, right? Or on a radio interview. That's really interesting, right? You might have heard that radio interview and want to come back and hear it again. So you type in, you know, faculty radio interview learning and memory. You know, it would be great if you could get them here so that they're at your site. So you want your anchor text to be keywords, would be great. Understand, you know, descriptive kinds of text. Now, where do you get to that in the code? There we go. So this is a little harder to see, but it's the href, and then it has the whole URL. And then in here is the anchor text. So here it's parentheses, link, parentheses, and then end A. So that's your anchor text. That's how you kind of pull it in, is you put this, the A goes around your anchor text or anything you want to link. So that's how you do it. So when you pull up your source code and you go and look at it, you can go, okay, what are we linking to? Because, you know, to Dave's point on, you know, you want inbound links coming in, the first time you put on your page, which I almost bet everyone in here has, that they're part of the University of Texas at Austin, there should be a link to utexas.edu. That should just be a given. And you probably link then to your college site or your department site. It should just automatically link the first time. Now, do you need to do it the whole way through? No. Maybe again towards the bottom at some point, but you want to have that in there because that gives you more links. We're all linking to each other, which helps all the sites get better listings and rankings. So, descriptive words, you should format them so they're easy to spot and do colors. Don't you love it when you go to a site and it's one color and then you click on it and you know you've seen it and you come back like a day later and you're like, oh, now it's purple and before it was blue, so I know I've been there, right? So those are just some nice things for the user. That's not really SEO, but it's really nice for the user. Keywords, and links, because that's how you know that they're important. Images, so, you know, the pretty pictures on your site. We're going to go for their main image. They have their logo up above, but their main image. I'll show you what it looks like. So this is image source code. Theirs is called think.png. And their alt text, now this is the really important one, is the alt text. Like, what do you call the alt text? Is the ALT equals, and then whatever in these quotes. So they've called it homepage image. And then the rest of it is just how big the image is. Okay, so you know every now and then when you load a website, the pictures don't load? Or if you're visually impaired, you wouldn't see the picture, you would get the description on the alt text. Or these days in Google, lots of people do search Google Images, and they do it by the name of the file and the alt text. I mean, that's how the Google Images gets done. So, you know, having homepage link, I would love to go, I haven't done it yet, but to go do a search in Google Images of like homepage image and see. But, you know, you want to make this interesting, valuable keyword, right? That's another great place to put a keyword. Oh, am I there? Too many. There we go. So optimize your use of images. Always use your alt text. That's an easy one that you might not have been doing. Make sure you do it. Store an image in a directory of their own. That's kind of more for your webmaster. It makes it easier for the search engine to do its job. But that's a little further technical than you need to worry about. But this is one, you can go in and look at your alt text, and if it says homepage image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4, yeah, you can go in and you can change all those alt texts. Like, you just go in, print out the page, highlight it, write the name in, hand it to your webmaster, and they can go in and change it. And use common file types. I'm sure you all are, but make sure you do. The next one is headings. So what do I mean by headings? We've had page titles and all these different. So the heading is kind of what we would call the headline, right? Kind of like the main part of your page, or the main title of your page, but not the page title. This is, in their terms, the heading, which this is welcome to the CLM. Isn't getting you lots there. It'd be nice if it had Center for Learning and Memory, so then you get your keywords, you got your name, and it's important too. Now where this one is, what they're calling it is page title and closed it off. Google recommends a different type of hierarchy. And what it is H1, and you close off the H1, H2, you close off the H2, H3, and it's kind of like an outline format, kind of when you've done an outline in the whole way down. That's a little more difficult to implement if your website's not currently set up that way. But even if so, if you can just make sure what's in your page title is strong, you can worry about that other stuff later in a redesign or talking about it. So you want to use the heading tags appropriately. Let me give you two kind of caveats of things that I've seen happen before. What happens is you've probably heard of cascading style sheets. So what they'll do is they'll go in, your webmaster and the designer will go in and say, okay, the H1 is going to be this size font, this color and bold, and H2 is going to be a different color font and italicized, H3, and it goes the whole way down. Well, you get in there and you go, you know what, I like how the H4 looks. It's a lot prettier than the H2. That's so boring. I don't like that. I'm going to use the H4. So through your whole site, you use the H4. Well, now an H4 and an outline, right? So you got your main point, your sub point, your sub point, your sub point. So now Google comes in and they think all of your main titles are like sub points. So you want to make sure you get those things done correctly because you want it to be the H1 is the most important. And the other thing I've seen is like, I'm going to fake this whole thing out. I'm going to make the H1 just look like my text. And I'm going to put the whole text in my page as an H1. And I'm going to shoot up to the top. Yeah, no, they'll catch you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So those are the kind of the top 5 things that you can do right now. I'm going to quickly go through the next 5. They're a little bit more involved, definitely doable, but it takes a little bit more time. One is put words in your URLs. I had a colleague who was putting out press releases on their site, and the press releases, it was like 2010 001 002, right? And then 003 was the next one, 004 was the next one, and that's how it was. And it didn't have like the words in it. Having the words is a lot better because if you've ever done a search, you see that if your word, like your keyword, is in the URL, it gets ranked higher too. So in this case, you know, you wanted to say Daniel Johnson, not fact D-163, whatever. So you want to try to use words. And the rest is kind of, you know, you need to be using 301s, but that's more for your webmaster. Make your site easy to navigate. If you can use breadcrumbs, you might not be able to implement that, you know, that quick. But use breadcrumbs, they help users, they help SEO. Have a useful 404 page, that's the not found page. Have it show up, instead of just not found, list the 4 top places on your website. Use web analytics. If you have heard that we don't use Google Analytics, the world has changed. We are now using Google Analytics. Center for Learning and Memory is using it here. But as of February 4th, we put Google Analytics on the home page. We're going to be tracking web performance and key performance indicators across everything. I don't have time to get into it now, but on Wednesday, March 24th, the Social Media Collaborative is going on. You should come. I'll be talking about Google Analytics. I'll be doing one of these about Google Analytics and how to do it. So it's just across the hall here in the Avaya Auditorium from 9 to 11 on Wednesday, March 24th. There are lots of free webmaster tools. Have your webmaster use them. There's lots of free stuff out there. And as Dave talked about, you know, offer quality content and services. You know, use keywords in your stuff. So I'm going to bring Dave back up and we can finish up.
There's just one last slide.
Yeah, do you want me to get to it?
Yeah.
There
So
we go.
basically,
Oh, we didn't change it.
summarizes everything we've been talking about. Oh, that's all right.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's just.
Okay.
So, you know, again, the importance of keywords and how they flow through the entire content of the site, from code to, you know, the content. So make sure you optimize your title tags with keywords, write descriptive headlines that have keywords in them, create subheads that have keywords. There's a pattern here. Keyword rich, which is keyword clever. And again, you know, there might be times when, you know, if you're writing a press release and it's going to someone specific in the media, a clever headline might do better than a keyword. But if it's going on the web, use your keywords. Anchor text, and remember there's little tricks, bold, italicized, bullet, critical words, all those good things. So anything that you can do, again, to help, you know, get the copy up and get the content up in the searches, that helps the university just in general. It helps you, helps promote the content, promotes what we're doing, sort of the overall function of communicators on campus. So it's just a simple thing that you just can integrate into your processes and just to be thinking about as you're developing content for the web and for the press releases and things like that. So you want to do some questions?
Any questions or discussions? Yeah,
Solved
Gary.
it all.
When you talk about keywords on the news releases, you're talking about the tags we put in on the right side, right?
On,
On
right,
WordPress, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, because generally what we do is we just put the name of the, College of Liberal Arts, Psychology Department, but it sounds like we should be doing things that are of use to the rest of the world.
Right, anything that's sort of high up on the page.
Okay.
If you can get, whatever that story is about or the sort of the key idea behind that story, words that are gonna flow within that story, you can get that up there, that would be great.
Yeah. And we
Yeah,
can
because
list
if
them
it does go
as-
up on the web or
Okay.
somewhere electronic, people will be able to find a lot.
And we can list them as a keyword too, then?
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay. I didn't know.
Are you saying the keywords in the press release, that we can bold them? We don't usually do that in the press release. I mean, you don't do anything.
Right,
Make the
and
word
this
stand
was
out.
more, we meant to rename this one optimizing
Yeah,
content
it's
and
not
not,
just for press releases,
this
it's
is-
content in general. I
Okay.
think
but
that's-
just kind of content in general.
So if you were to do a press release,
Uh-huh.
you wouldn't normally bold anything, or you would never do any bullets or anything like that?
We might do bullets, but not all the
Or
time, usually.
no
just a straight
italicized,
line
just
to-
for titles and things like that? you
Yeah,
wouldn't use.
yeah,
Yeah.
not general.
So even if you submit them electronically, that doesn't, there's just sort of a standard format that you always adhere to.
Yeah, like Don Cruisen.
Right.
Yeah,
We're gonna run this by
it's like
Don
like
and
a-
get him
yeah,
to change
Just like
it.
a regular
Right.
press release and nothing, I mean, I can't, unless it was the name of a newspaper or something that's normally, AP style, it's gonna be
Right.
italicized. We wouldn't be keywords, it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
any-
right, it wouldn't be a
just
keyword, it would just be a
something that
title
would-
or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But it could be nice for when it gets put onto your website to maybe go back in and add, the links to the University of Texas at Austin or bold some of those keywords so that you get the higher bump for the search engine
We do
side.
have really, that.
Right.
links On the press releases that say come on that usually are on our.
Right, that's,
Right.
yeah, that-
But, yeah, there's other things. And then one more thing, what
Yeah.
is the breadcrumb navigation?
Oh, I'm sorry, breadcrumb navigation. It's when it's at the top of the site, it'll say like UT home and a little kind of, it's usually, like a carrot or what is that, the greater than sign or something, less than sign? Greater than sign, I think. And so it'll be UT home, carrot no, carrot science and technology, carrot, and then maybe that page that you're on. And it's all listed right up at the top of the page. So it's harder to just implement. Like you're not going to be able to go in and say, hey, add breadcrumbs to our site. But they're really, really helpful for search engines, for users, for just kind of across the board. They're just one of those kind of best practices on the web. Yeah.
One more question. Same thing as what I asked before. When we are doing like in code, when you do meta tag, let's say I have a keyword which is 20 keyword. When the search engine is searching through those keyboard, is there a limit? That's what I meant to ask before. Do they search through 10 or is there 24? Like I have searced this before.
oh, you have a
but I
list
don't
of
know.
keywords? you
Yeah,
mean? How many
exactly.
will they look at?
Yeah.
Right. So how many keywords will the search engine look at?
Or there is no limit, like whatever.
I think it'll look at all of those, but then it's gonna look and see if it appears anywhere else, because again, it's sort of the density of that keyword. How often does it show up on that page? So if you've got a list of 10 keywords and one of those is memory, and memory shows up 10 other times on the page somewhere else, it'll key in on memory, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the answer to your question, according to a website called Website Grader, I think it's 150 characters. It's either 250 or 150. I can't remember, but I think it was 150. It goes, if the number of characters goes up too high in the keyword list, then you've negated the value of the keywords too much, so it needs to be a lower number than that.
So you have 150
I think
characters?
it's
did you say?
150 characters. I have to go back and do it, but I know
Okay.
we tested our website, we tested engineering's, and theirs had too many words. They had a ton of words in it.
Right,
And
right.
like they would take like the same word and do it like almost the same thing, but not quite the same thing.
Right,
Like
they'll do little-
engineers.
Right, they do variations of it.
That takes a lot of extra words out. And so the more words that you have in there, the less value the words that you have. So
That's what I
So you don't
thought.
wanna have too many words in there, because then it gets
dilutes it a little bit. So will it take everything up to 150 and then everything else is
Anything,
excluded?
well, it just becomes, it just becomes a problem with the website if it's too many, it becomes,
I
it
gotcha.
loses it's not like there's a cutoff, like it's not gonna
It just
list
starts to
too many,
dilute what's there,
but it
yeah.
dilutes the
Okay,
value
okay.
of what's there, so.
Right,
interesting.
and I think also if you look at it for each page, instead of trying to do all of them for the whole site on every page, say, well, this page is about this, so let me do, you know, the
We do
keywords.
University of Texas at Austin, and we're in mechanical engineering, so we put mechanical engineering on there. But then we also put in, we don't put in like engineers, engineering, engineer, you know, some people do that, but
Right.
it's sort of, it's not gonna help you that much to have those different variations on those words
Right.
on there, so. Also, what that started from was that, because I've been doing websites a long time, is that people used to put in their competitors' names in their keywords files. So like they look
Yeah.
up IBM and you get Dell or whatever everybody else thinks is computer. And so that was really quickly banned from the beginning was the, and they would also, another thing they do is they take, when they put them in the background, like they would say they made a yellow background or a white background, they'd code letters into the background,
into the background.
words into the background that were the same color as the background that you couldn't read if you just looked at it.
I think that they would just kick you out if you do something like that now.
Yeah,
you
now they
can-
have that kind of all
The
figured
black hat,
out.
yeah,
Right, if
SEO.
you're, right, if you're trying to trick the system.
Yeah, little tricks that were pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah. Definitely.
When we were looking at the code, I noticed just like a lot of validation problems in that code. How does that negatively, does that negatively impact the SEO at all, and how much does it impact it?
I know the code does play a part of it. You want to have very clean code.
Yeah.
I'm not a programmer, so I don't really know
Yeah.
the specifics of that, but I would imagine it would, you
You
know.
can look at that when you go, if you do search for subjects, you can look at like, usually the pages that come out first, unless it's a really obscure page, it'll be pretty cleanly coded, as you go down, the page coding gets worse, you know,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, well, that page was interestingly coded.
Yeah, well, it hadn't been touched in 5 years,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
How do you go about coding it, so it comes up with, say, a Google News search as opposed to a regular Google search? What are the keywords you need to put in there that it comes up, under news?
Under news. I don't believe I know the answer to that.
That's a good question.
That is a
yeah.
great question. I would have to do some research to see how you get over there. So,
I mean, we seem to be doing whatever it is, because when we put press releases up, they come up quickly in Google News, but when we have things that just go through the college and don't go through the university,
Mhm.
we're not doing it there, so.
Okay.
So, yeah.
that is good to research how to end up on the news side of Google. Definitely. Yeah.
So, on March 24, you are going to talk about the software, how exactly it will be.
Oh, for the social media collaborative on the 24th, I'm going to kind of show some screenshots like I did of this, of Google Analytics. We've come up with kind of a basic set of key performance indicators, like of KPIs that we're going to look at. And so that's what I'm going to go over. I only have about a half hour about what I had here to talk, so I won't be really digging in and getting in, but it'll be interesting because right now we have about just over 20,000 sites tagged with our Google Analytics, like for the whole university, and we're just trying to get that number up because obviously we have millions and millions of pages, so the more we can get that up, but we're already getting really interesting information, so.
Are you guys worried about the fact that you're giving Google so much information? We purposely didn't put our site on Google.
That has all changed. It went through legal, ITS looked at it, because it was years in the coming. And yes, they have it. We use their search, not their search appliance, their search, for our major search, we use the Google. And they have a lot of it already.
So they don't mind that there's no concern about Google owning all the data from the University of Texas?
Republic University.
Yeah. They don't care,
we were able to get over all of the hurdles on, from the legal aspect of it. So those are now
Congratulations.
okay. It's on the homepage. It's being tracked.